Wicked Jack, adapted by Connie Wooldridge and illustrated by Will Hildebrandt. There's goings on across the great dismal swamps of Virginia and North Carolina that are mighty hard to explain. But I can tell you one thing, the mysterious light you see dancing around there on an evening is because of Jack, Wicked Jack. Old Jack was a blacksmith, but the thing he really took pride in was his meanness. He talked so bad to people, they'd steer clear of him, except when they had a tool fixed or a horseshoe made. This was worrisome of Jack. You see, without enough folks to practice his meanness on, he's afraid he'd get rusty. So he hit on a plan. He'd invite a stranger in for some vitals. Then, after the poor fellow had a good mouthful of greens and cornbread, Jack would commence to his meanness. One day, an old crippled man passed up by the house. Jack had to carry him up the dirt path. The man was so bent over. When the vitals were on the table, the stranger couldn't even feed himself. Jack had to do it for him. This is an awful lot to bother just to practice my meanness, Jack thought. There was a flash of light, and the crippled up stranger disappeared. Before Jack's popped-out eyes sat a man, old and red-bearded, but straight as a poker, wearing a white robe with a key dangling from his waist. "Who in the thunder are you?" Jack demanded. "I'm St. Peter, the keeper of the heavenly gate," said the old man. "And you, Jack, are meaner than a rattlesnake. But you behaved right, hospitable to me today, so I'm going to give you 3 wishes as a reward." Jack rubbed his prickly chin and figured he had nothing else to lose by playing along. After some hard thinking, he said, "The first thing I wish is that any old loafer who sits in my rocker will stick right to the bottom of the chair. He'll keep a rockin' and a rockin' till he yells for me to let him go. Next thing I wish," said Jack, "is that anybody who touches my sledgehammer will stick to it like glue. While it hammers this away and that away, it'll throw him until he hollers for me to let him go. And last," said Jack, "I wish that anybody who touches the fire brush in front of my shop will get pulled right into the middle. He'll stick there in the prickles like till he shouts for me to let him go." "I guess that does it, Jack," St. Peter said, scribbling away in his little white book. "But if I don't mind saying, those are 3 of the sorriest wishes I've ever heard of." Then he up and disappeared. After that, Jack got meaner and meaner. It wasn't long before the devil was worried that Jack was out even doing him for his meanness. So he sent one of his boys, a sawed-off little devil with horns just beginning to sprout, to fetch old Jack before he was dead. That little devil strutted into Jack's shop like he meant business. "Daddy sent me after you," he said, "so you just better come on with me." "Why, sure," said Jack. "Just let me finish this horseshoe and I'll be right along." The little devil sat down in Jack's rocking chair, real cocky-like, to wait for Jack to finish the horseshoe. Soon as he settled himself in, the chair began to rock like there was no tomorrow. The little devil stuck in there like glue, with his horned head going whack-a-bang against the back of it. "Hey, let me out of here!" he hollered. "You gonna hightail it out of here if I let you up?" "Sure, mister." Whack-a-bang, just let me up!" "All right then, get on out of here," said Jack. The rocking chair threw the little devil on the floor. He scrambled to his feet, and with Jack's help, he was out the door and down the road. Jack was having himself a good laugh when another one of the devil's boys came a-strutting into the shop, a little bigger devil, with horns about an inch or 2 high. "My daddy sent me to fetch you, so you better come right along, right now." "Why, sure," said Jack. "One more good bang on this horseshoe and I'll be finished. Just hand me that sledgehammer, or is it a mite too big for a young whippersnapper like you?" "Nothing's too big for me," bragged the medium-sized devil, and he took a hold of the hammer. Soon as it did, it began to throw him all over the shop, up and down and this way, that away, until he was begging Jack to turn him loose. "You gonna fix him to come back here again?" Jack asked him. "No, not me, mister," answered the medium-sized devil, still flying all over the shop. "Not that or your little brother of yours?" "No, mister, neither of us will ever come back here again. Just turn me loose." "All right then," said Jack, and the medium-sized devil fell, splat, on the floor. He was out of the shop and down the road as fast as his legs could carry him. Old Jack had hardly gotten all the laugh out of him, that when the shop walked the old devil himself. His horns stuck way up at the top of his head. His tail was a-twitching, and he was so mad there was smoke coming out of his ears. "Well, howdy do," said Jack. "Don't you howdy do me, old man. I don't like what you done to my boys, so I come for you myself. Now you come on along." "If you just care to have a sit in my rocking chair, I don't care to sit in any of your chairs." "Well then, if you just hand me one of my sledgehammers—" "No, I'm not handing you any sledgehammer. Now you just come on." "Well, all right then, I'll come. There's no sense getting yourself all worked up. Let's just me and you walk on out the door." This suited the devil just fine, except that right outside the door, Jack gave him a little nudge that made him brush up against the fire bush growing out there. Lickety-split, there was a devil stuck in the middle of the fire brush, with his head down in the prickles and his feet sticking out at the top. Jack sat down under a tree stump and began picking dirt out from under his fingernails. The devil thrashed and kicked and flailed, but the more he did, the more prickled and stuck he got. So suddenly, he just grew real still. "Mister, what do you want? Let me out of here! Now why would I go do a foolish thing like that? Because if you do, I'll never bother you again, nor me or my boys." Jack just kept picking the dirt under his fingernails. "Mister, please!" Well, this was too much for Jack, hearing the devil himself. "Please, so pretty," and he laughed till he didn't have another left in him. When he finally caught his breath, he said, "All right then, get on out of here, and don't you go fooling with Wicked Jack again." The devil took off, and folks on down the road saw him pass, but he wasn't moving slow. After that, Jack just kept getting older and meaner, till he finally up and died. The first place he headed was for the pearly gates of heaven, and he gave a knock. Bam, bam, bam! St. Peter opened the gate a crack. "What are you doing here, Jack?" "Well, I'm here to join the celestial kingdom," Jack answered in his very best preacher-like voice. "Nobody comes in here, Jack, unless your name's written in the book. And your name's not there, 'cause I just checked this morning when I heard your time was up. You can't turn me down after I come all this way." "Jack, I know my business," said St. Peter, and he closed the gate up tight. There was nothing for Jack to do but turn around and head in the other direction. He walked and he walked till he saw the gates of hell standing wide open like the jaws of a hungry mountain lion. Pretty soon he got so close he could make out the devil's two boys playing catch with a ball of fire. It wasn't too long before the pint-sized devil spotted Jack a-comin'. His red skin turned pale pink, and even hay on him that hadn't already been singed off stood on end. "Daddy, Daddy," he hollered, "it's him! It's Wicked Jack coming this way!" The devil came running. "Shut the gates, boys," he barked, "and fetch me a hot coal with his here tongs." The pint-sized devil shut the gates, while his brother fetched his daddy a hot coal. "You can't come in here, Jack, "But I already been turned away up yonder." "Well, that ain't none affair of mine. Now you get out of here." "And just what am I supposed to do now?" "I'll tell you what to do, Jack. You take this here coal," and he passed the tongs out the bars to Jack, "and you go start a hell of your own." There hasn't been a body before nor since turned up above or down below. And the light over the swamp? Well, some of the scientific folk will tell you it's marsh gas. But you and I know it's just old Wicked Jack a-wandering to and fro with his coal.